Hello everyone, how are you today? I'm doing well for today. What I'm going to talk in this video. Well, before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Nathasya Yulianto Tasya for shorts. So I think since I have an interest in language and this topic is really something that catch my eyes. So it's about acquisitions. I think you guys have already know people or mostly people in this current status quo, they are not only master in only one language or their first language, but also have master other language, and we can call this multilingual. If they really totally master it more than three languages, they will call as a polyglot. Well, this is what a really hot topic in Stars School. So I'm going to talk about a language acquisitions by we will analyze some topic that occur in our society since like we know there's a parents there are parents that from other country, for example her mother is Indonesian and her father is Japanese, so it is questionable with language that their child will master it first. So it's kind of hot topic. So today I'm going to bring you with this one topic that the sources I found in the Quora is quite interest for me. Okay, the problem is like this. I have spoken to my 5 years old daughter in English only since she was born. My wife speaks Polish and we live in Poland. She understands me, but why does she speak Polish only? How interesting. So this is a father talk about like she is an Englishman. She talk with his daughter in English, but he is questioning about why my daughter cannot respond in English, but she master in her mother language is a Poland and Polish, and they live in Poland. So there are three things that be a point in this analysis. The first one is about environment, the second one is about the caregiver, and then the last one how they can this daughter switch the language. So firstly, I would like to explain is about environment. Environment has a biggest impact toward the language acquisitions, right? There is something theory coming from a Stephen questions that is about input hypothesis. So I'm going to explain like this. Question input hypothesis emphasize the importance and a comprehensible input in language acquisitions, while his daughter received a significant amount and considerable input in Polish from her environment. So even though her father is speak English with her oftenly, but we can see how dominance the environment affect toward his daughter's language mastery. Since her mother is can speak Polish from Poland and they live in Poland, so we already know Polish is a Poland language, and we can see directly how a big gap within her father, even in his case that he always speak with English and with her daughter. I do believe the input that her father give to her is access. However, how the output is mostly come because the environment is mostly speak Poland. So that is why if we relate how the hypothesis input from a Stephen question, we can believe that a language acquisition is occur according to which place that do you live, and then that's really a good example about how creations picturing or weighing that environment has an input hypothesis toward the language. So because the daughter live, go to school, environment mostly speaks Polish, so of course she master Polish rather than English, even she understands the language itself. English from her father. And then the second one is about the social interactions theory coming for Lev Vygotsky. So the theory is suggests that social interactions play a critical role in language development. As already mentioned before, how the interaction is mostly coming from a people who speak Polish rather than her father itself. So I can conclude how the environment can take a very majority place of language, since that okay, we just compare that uh, her father is only speak English with her. However, it's not only her mother that speak Polish with her, but also her friends, her relatives, and many on and so forth. So there's one reasons why, according to the phenomenon occur in his daughter, is about how environment affect her understanding toward English that coming from her father. So the second one that I would like to talk is about the caregiver. What kind of caregiver here? So there are two actors about the caregiver. The first one, of course, their parent, their mother, their mother and father, and also maybe like a grandma, grandpa here. And so I'm going to talk about this too. The first one is that very dominantly how father and mother can affect it more. So I can compare that, especially is about mother tongue language. So mother tongue language is something that you master it first, in the very first. Mother tongue is something that you gain first from your mother, because there is mother tongue. If we can see as how why she or his daughter is mastering her Polish better than English, is since like, because I do believe that mom frequently, not only frequently, is always taking care of their children. It doesn't mean that the father doesn't taking care of the children. But if we compare between the time when mother is always like taking care of them, like speak to them, because we can deny that father sometimes go to work and something like that. And I think the dominance, and we relate to the environment effects, I can believe that that is why the daughter is more master in Polish rather than English itself. But I do believe that it doesn't mean her daughter is, or his daughter doesn't have any language, doesn't understand the English. I do believe she is understand. However, since there's no practical moments to her practices even more rather than only with the father. So I mean like both this child is get to input English and also English and also Polish. However, the English is only supported by a one man stand, which means her father. However, the Polish is like not only from her mother, especially is her mother tongue, but also the environment around them, since they live in Poland. So it's really take a very big place, or a very big huge gap within why her daughter is more likely to speak in Polish, and can able to speak in Polish, but she still can understand the English from her father, since the daughter also get two input. However, if we make a ratio, the input is more likely happen in the Polish language, because they live in Poland. That is really how we can portray how the effects really occur for the both sides. So, and then the last one, I think I'm going to explain about how it's really a thing that she is hardly to switch from Polish to English, is because like this. I'm going to explain this about There's a theory for bilingual first language acquisition. The theory states that the children exposed to two languages from birth can develop proficiency in a both. So I already mentioned it. However, the dominant language typically becomes the one and with a more exposure, where the exposure is only occur. So that is why it's hard for her to expose the language coming from her father is English, is because how the dominant language is morely come from her mother. So even she want to switch it to English, but she doesn't have any figures that can edit that language. It's really hard to her to understand that, or even to switch the language, because when you want to learn a language, you have to see an example toward it. So example toward it's not only from one man's stand. So that is why it's really hard for her to switch from Polish to Poland, because the majority, the understanding from his child is coming for her mother's language, which means Polish, and mostly they live in Poland. So this is just really interesting how language is acquired to ourselves sometimes, because there are a lot of things that show how language is affected from our environments. It's not only about when you learn the language, not only you learn the language directly, how it's about the grammatical pattern or something like that, but also how environment can influence your language. So this is why even you never go to, for example, even you never go to the Korean, but if you often gather with the people who can speak Korean, and also you often watch something drama in Korean, so the input will happen to you, and you will understand the language. But the parameter is that whether you can use the language orally. So the question is that whether the orally can occur or happen. So because that is why I can conclude that why his daughter cannot speak English verbally, even she understands, is because the output is only happen when she meet one person, which means only her father. However, in Polish, it's not only she doesn't meet only one person, but in speaking Polish, which means her mother, but also she meets a lot of people who speak Polish, which means we can see that the output is more likely coming from the Polish. So that's really interesting how language is acquired, guys. So I hope there's another times that I can explain more about how we can acquiring the language from many other perspectives. So that's all for me. Thank you for your attentions.